Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And here we are today with the latest entry-level network attached storage solution from Asustor. This is the AS1104T model, but more details after the intro. And we are back. So today it's not a quick overview, as I said, is a more in-depth overview of the main characteristic. We will start doing a test with you right over here in terms of Plex, transcoding and the power that we have right over here, because some of the questions that I get asked a lot is, hey Robert, is this device ready to be my multimedia center? And right out of the bat my answer is yes, but I want to share with you all those details so that you can make your own calculations before you purchase this device, which is a very powerful device. Now it has one sock that we all know from the tests that we do on Android TV boxes and devices like that, which are targeted at 4K transcoding, H.265, H.264, 8-bit and 8 and 10-bit videos, and this is all capable of that. We will also talk a little bit about the assembly, because this is different from the latest model that we have seen, the 6604T, which is a more advanced model, and it has 4 removable bays. This one right over here has a different scenario. We will also see the physical details. Besides that, I want to share with you some information that the Drivestor has on the website, so that we can take a few questions out of the way. And then finally, for those that are really interested, we will take a quick look, or else we will stay here all day, at some of the functionalities that we will find on ADM, which by the way is the latest version 4.0. ADM is the operating system of the Asustor that they use on all their devices, and I've been using for quite some years, and what I've been noticing is that they improve in every version, not only the operating system but also the apps that we can install on our phones, but we will not talk about them today, and that is the schedule for today. Now, one of the things that I will start to show you right now is the screen of my laptop, and the first thing, we will change language, because I just recorded the video in Portuguese, and what I'm going to do right now is go right over here, language by the way, and let's put this in English. Sorry about that, because I should have done that. Now the changes have been made. What I'm going to do is a quick restart, and we will be right back in English. And here we are back now with the English interface, but if you have any other language, as you could see, was very easy to change. Now, one of the things that I would like to share with you right out of the bat is that if we look at the specifications, it has the Realtek 1296, which is a great SoC with 1 GB of DDR4 RAM. And this might be your first question is, hey Robert, is this enough for my multimedia center? Especially when we look at 1 GB of RAM, and this is a totally fair question. But let me say that Asustor has done a great job in terms of integrating the SoC with the RAM, that it's more than capable for a multimedia device. And of course, if you want to store your documents, if you want to store photos, videos and things like that, more than enough. But instead of talking, I will show you right that. Now, if I go to the activity display or activity monitor, we will see two things that are very curious. First of all is the CPU utilization, which at this moment I did a reboot, so is starting all the services and is at 17%. But while we're recording the video, you'll see that it will go a lot lower. Actually, it's already going 5% of utilization, so this is nothing. On the other hand, if we look at the memory, we will see that at this moment is 86%, but I would say that the average will be 80%, 75% of utilization, and then it will ramp up, but not that much. And why? Because it has, or it acts as a cache RAM. So the cache looks like it's all loaded with all the services and things like that, but it's not being used. And when we start using it, the RAM is already ready for us there. So we will not see an increase of the RAM usage. And this is great because it's quicker. It will allow us not to feel any difference. And to do one of these tests, what I want to do with you guys right over here at this moment is, let me fire up Plex Media Player, and I want to play one movie right over here. Actually, I was playing I, Frankenstein, which is a really nice movie. Let me put the activity monitor right over here and then press play so that we can see the CPU and RAM utilization right over here. But one of the things that will be surprising is that it's so efficient that we will not see any increase on the utilization of the CPU or the RAM. Sometimes we will see a spike right here on the CPU, and I'll show you in a few moments. But at this moment, if you want machines to play inside your network that are able of decoding and it's just a direct stream, then you will be more than fine. Talking about Android TV boxes, which all do this kind of playback. Now, if we look at an iPhone, the story is different. Even inside the network, what it will do is it will ask to transcode the file, and this means that the CPU, RAM and the operating system on this device will have to do all the work to be able to send video to this device, which is not capable of transcoding that file. And I'm talking about MKV files, for example. This movie that I'm playing right over here, Mad Max Fury, is a H.264 MKV Blu-ray 1080 file. And if we look at this moment, the CPU just spiked up a little bit, went to 15% of utilization, which is nothing really. And I also want to show you something on screen, which is the playback information right over there. As you can see, it says transcoding. So this will happen on any iOS device, and this is what takes more resources of any unit that it's running a server on the background. So let's leave the iPhone right over here. This will mimic exactly what will happen if you use any device even capable of transcoding outside your network. Let's say an Android TV box that you use on your parents' house, grabbing content from your NAS, which is totally possible. Even though that Android TV box is capable of transcoding inside your network, outside it will ask the server to transcode that file so that it's able to send over the network, and this is the thing that will consume the resources, as I said. Now we have two devices already playing, and we are of 2% of utilization for the CPU, which is correct. Now let's go for the Samsung and put it to work as well. We already have here the Frankenstein, which is a MKV file, as I said, and let me put the same information of reproduction, but here you will not see transcode, you will see direct playback, in Portuguese of course, direct playback on the first sentence, I think. If it's not on the first one, it's one of those. So this means that even though this is a mobile device, this one is capable of transcoding MKV files, unlike that one right over there. But at this moment, and I just paused, let me put it back. At this moment we have 3 devices on our network being used to display different movies, and you can mimic this on a living room and 2 bedrooms at the same time, playing back devices. It doesn't matter if it's something that needs to be transcoded or not to be transcoded. One thing that we can notice right over here is that the CPU utilization is very low for what we are doing at this moment, and the RAM, as you can see, 79% at this moment, so nothing at all. Nothing special for the device that we have. And this is one of the things that we could at the first moment look at the RAM and say, oh, I'm already using 80%, so I will not be able to use more devices. But as you can see, 3 devices on top and still on the average of the 80%. So this is just an awesome experience. And that is it. In terms of Plex usage, you will be able more than fine to use this device, especially thanks to the integration of the operating system with this great SoC right over here, which is the Realtek 1296 and 1 GB of RAM. And now let's talk a little bit about the assembly. Now I'm using Toshiba N300 NAS discs. Probably I'm gonna put the phones right over there so it doesn't mess up the image. But as I was saying, I've got 4 units of Toshiba and 300 drives, which are awesome. I'm using my 4 terabytes drives for testing. The 14 terabytes are being used on the 6604T, which is my main NAS at this moment, and I use it to store all my data and information and servers and virtualization and things like that. But at this moment using the N300. And while I was talking, probably you saw some images right over there. If not, I will show you right now. To disassemble this is very easy. We have 4 screws at the back. We just remove them and then put this NAS on the side. The first time I did not read the manual, so I put it on the wrong way, but then I corrected and inserted the drives. Very easy to assemble, and we can use it without the screwdriver. Now, the first time I did use a screwdriver because it came from factory very tight, but after that, just with my hands I can remove the drives, put the drives back in and assemble. So this is a different assembly from the 6604 that we have individual drive bays. Right over here we just remove this side cover and that is it. In terms of physical aspects, we have a USB 3.0 at the front where we can connect any device that we arrive home and we want to do a daily backup or a weekly backup. Just plug it in, configure the software, and it will back up that disk or that USB drive that I've got right over there to back up everything to the NAS. At the back we will find a power button and a reset switch right on the sides, and then also a USB 3.0 that I can use to back up to and from the NAS unit. So if I want to back up all the data that is here to a USB drive, 18 terabytes or whatever capacity that I've got here on the NAS, or I can just back up 1 folder or 2 folders or things like it. Depends on the backup that I want to do. This is one of the options. I can just connect a disk here at the back and then schedule a back up the files that I want to that external drive, so that I've got a lot of redundancy. Besides the RAID functions that I did not talk about, but if you are looking for a NAS, you probably already know that you can do RAID 1, RAID 0, RAID 5, which are the most common. I would say that the most balanced in this particular case would be RAID 5, where we have 4 disks, 3 of them being used all our data, and then 1 which will be used for redundancy. So that means that I can lose 1 disk, can remove it, just buy another one, insert, and I will not lose anything. And in my opinion, this is the most balanced for a 4 disk unit such as this one. Now we also have Ethernet 2.5 gigabit, which is just awesome. And if you want to take a look at some tests, I will leave them right over here in terms of speed tests that I did with the 6604. This one will have a similar performance. And then finally the power input jack and a 120 millimeters fan, which, let me tell you, that is totally dead silent. It's not silent. Silent is something that makes a little bit of noise. I don't hear anything, which is just great. And now, before we take a look at the software, which is right over here on the screen, I want to share with you a few things, not many because we will stay here all day. I will ask you to leave some comments down below on where you want me to emphasize more, and then we can record a few more videos directly on the questions that you have. But first of all, let's take a look here at the Asustor page. I will leave a link down below so that you guys can check it out, but just to read some of the more important characteristics. First of all, the Realtek 1296 CPU, which is more than enough and really targeted at multimedia decoding. 1 GB of DDR4 RAM. This is one of the questions that you might have. Hey Robert, is it enough? As you could see, for multimedia playback, and of course if you want to store data and pictures and so on, more than enough. You don't need to go for the 6604, for example, or for the next model, because this one will be more than enough. If you want virtualization, for example, if you want to install several operating systems, then although it's possible right over here, I would suggest a stronger model in that particular case. But for this kind of usage, this is a great entry model. Actually, at this moment, I'm not really sure if it's not the best entry model available on the market across all brands, but that is another question. Now, besides the 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet, 4K transcoding without any issues at all, Wake on LAN and Wake on WAN, new rose gold logo, that's a personal thing, and then it has the Plex connection right over here that will take us to Plex, and this is really targeted at that. All new hardware, same great case. And this is one, it's true, in my opinion, really simple case, really nice design, and cooling is effective, the connections that we have, so nothing wrong right over here in my opinion, of course. And here we are again once with the 4K transcoding along with 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, which is really welcome these days. 1 gigabyte of RAM, it looks short, but it isn't for this kind of usage. And then the backup solutions, saying that we can back up from our phone, NAS, data preservation using the RAID configuration, RAID 5, RAID 1, RAID 0. It's risky, but it's an option. NAS to NAS backup, if we want, we can have another unit on a remote location, like my parents' house, for example, and I do that with another unit synchronized with my 6604, where I do have a backup of all my important data. Not all the data, but my important data. So if I have really bad accident right over here, a fire or something like that, then I've got my data off-site, and this is totally possible with Asustor NAS, not only with this unit but all of them. We also can do PC backups and Mac in my particular case, Mac backups, cloud to NAS backup, and USB backups, of course. New brand ADM 4.0. We have done a full detailed video on the ADM quite a while back. It was version 3 if I'm not mistaken. One of these days we will do on ADM 4.0, because today we will not have enough time for that, and hopefully you already have popcorns with you so that you can enjoy all this video or watch it on several days. But just to mention that there is a new improved ADM. The core is the same, but they will improve design and functionality and apps that they will keep adding to the library and so on and so forth. So the rose gold coloring, okay. Realtek quad core CPU, DDR4, efficient and powerful, yes. Media mode, this is one of the things that grabbed my attention, is that in media mode, as we are testing right now, still testing, and if we go to the activity monitor here, we can see 2% of utilization, 85% at this moment of RAM, but this means that it is targeted at multimedia playback without any efforts at all, and it has the RAM as a cache. And it says right over here that media mode is a new feature that efficiently reserves 512 megabytes of RAM for multimedia tasks as a variety of tasks required large amounts of RAM, with dedicated RAM for multimedia, but you can read the rest on yourself. So just great result right over here. 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, speed tests on RAID 5, and of course toolless installation, which we already talked about. Free exFAT. This is something to do with Microsoft and not Asustor, but Asustor has been doing a great job on integrating all the features that they can on their machines. Ultra quiet operation, yes, I have to agree, because it is dead silent, basically, is that. Durability, I've got a few units working 24/7 from Asustor and other brands, and so far what I can say is that I only had one machine dying on my hands on all these years, and it was a WD machine, not an Asustor. So far using for quite some years, and durability, no issues at all. And one more thing that I would like to mention right over here, besides all the backup solutions that we can, and this is something that you can spend some time on their website reading, because it's very well illustrated, and we have done some tests here on the past. Web Center, we can have our own website right over here. If it's a small website for a company or something like that, yeah, no problem at all. If you are designing the next social network, then probably you will be better with a dedicated server or a stronger NAS. But if you want to play around with a website, yes, we can. It has all the services. We don't need to have on our computer. We can just have it centralized right over here and then use it from several computers inside or outside the network, which is really nice on an easy manner to do. Now this is not new, but right now it's really easy. Anyone can do that, even if you never built a website and you never prepared the server and your PHP database and so on and so forth, but really it makes really easy. Protected from ransomware, they are strong on security, and here it talks about the photo gallery and a photo, but I would like to mention these services right over here. This will basically allow us to put everything that we have here on the cloud on several services, as we can see right over here. And there's a really interesting thing as well, which is the data sync center, where we can centralize our Google Drive, Dropbox, and so on and so forth, and have everything centralized through the NAS software. Besides that, I would like to mention the mobile apps, which we will need to update our video. I've done one a while back, but at this moment they have improved their apps, and they've got a lot, 8 apps right over here, each one of them specialized for video, photos, and so on and so forth. So it's just a question of trying these apps and see if they are what we are looking for. In my particular case, for example, I'm very used to use Plex for movie playback, or Kodi, or MB. But if you are not using one of those, for example, Plex requires a Plex Pass, which I need to pay monthly or a lifetime usage. But if you want to use something that it's included on the Asustor, like the AI videos right over here, then probably you can, and if you like the app, then great. For example, photos, I pay iCloud for their service, but there's also a AI Photo 3 right over here, which probably will be more than enough for your photo library. And guys, although it has more features like surveillance and so on and so forth, we will stay right over here on this particular video. It's a long video. I wanted to share with you some things on the characteristics of this network attached storage solution. Also, the ADM, or the operating system, is very rich. It has a lot of options. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek right over here on these. This one is my favorite, the App Central, because it allows me to use the NAS on a different kind of usage. The first NAS that I had only allowed me to put files in there, and that was great, but today a NAS is more than a NAS. So if we look at all the apps right over here that I can install on this particular unit, of course there are some apps that we can install on other more advanced units that we cannot here. Not many, but a few. And as you can see, you will have a lot of apps to choose from, multimedia and so on and so forth, PHP services, Apache, and so on. So this is one, well, probably my favorite one right over here. And also we have the online app, backup and restore. Let me go here for the settings so that you can take a look at all the options that we have. We have all the options that we want. If we want to schedule backups and so on and so forth, we've got all that right over here. The services in terms of network, as you can see, all of them we will find right over here. Storage manager that will allow me to see the disks that I've got, how they are, configuration, and so on and so forth, volumes, all the information, and if I want to change anything I can, and see everything that I want on a disk, just taking clips. And I can see all this on my phone as well. And we could stay here all day showing all the information, because one of the things that it's really interesting on these units from Asustor is that they are very rich. Sometimes we purchase things that are cheaper but are very limited on what we can do, and these right over here we can use them for the basic usage, which is to store pictures and documents and so on and so forth. But as the time goes by and we discover that we want to try a server, and we want to try a multimedia center, and we want to try this and that, then we will find the solution right over here. And this is just awesome because it will give us a lot of room to grow. And guys, we are going to shut this video down. Well, let me know on the comments down below if you want to see any particular feature on a dedicated video, then we can, or backups or anything like that, how to configure schedule backups, I don't know, I'm just throwing them out of my way. How to configure Plex on an Asustor, for example, is probably a good question, which is very simple but very, very fair question at all. So if you have any of those, just leave them down below. I will do it as fast and as best as I can. Hopefully the video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget the usual thumbs up right over here, which is very appreciated on this side of the screen. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.